All right, next Bethyl questions. Saw the pic of EK and Luna. That's how she looks like. She looks so pretty and young too. Not sure if it's confirmed, but are they the same age? I have no idea. I do not know what their ages are. Or I mean, what Luna's is anyway. Also look at the way how Luna's legs are posed. Doesn't that look similar to Boots from Red Machete? What if that was her as a stand-in for EK as Beth? Yeah, I could see that. I really could see that. That's interesting. I hadn't thought of that just from looking at the picture, but that's definitely a possibility. Finally, found Luna Love's Twitter and her YouTube. She looks and seems like a friendly person as much as EK does. I also took a look at some of her voice acting work, and there's a blonde young cartoon anime girl with blue eyes who Luna voices, and I'm kind of side-eyeing this now. She also likes and reposts EK's, and I assume that's Scott Gimple's Twitter post relating to TWDU. Thanks to that Nani who sends you the picture of EK and her. I do see some striking similarities. I kind of think this may be a TD theme, but I'm not sure. Yeah, because you can see it going either way. If she's reposting their stuff, that does feel like maybe she's part of the TWD universe, you know, like she does some work for them and therefore she reposts all their posts. But if she's friends with Emily, you could see her maybe doing that too. But it's a little bit less likely that she'd do it for Scott Gimple if she had not worked directly with him. So yeah, I mean, guys, again, I don't know the answer to this and I wish that I did, but I'm with you. I mean, I definitely think it's a possibility. So that's super intriguing. And it's interesting that they're posting this almost as though, I don't know, do they want us to, maybe they're hinting that Luna is working right now as Emily's stunt double or something? I'm not sure. I don't know what the point of that would be other than just generally hinting at stuff, but it's definitely interesting. All right, this is the last one I have as of the recording of this. So I just watched your video of Emily Kinney at the recent Comic-Con. I remember at one point you said that if the actors talked super openly about the fan theories, it normally meant that wasn't going to happen. Connie's actress joking about her and Daryl getting together. I think the fact that she did a panel with Seth, whose character made an appearance in The Ones Who Live, is super sus, but I don't know, maybe she was just in the area or felt like meeting with the fans. I'm honestly super disappointed because it feels like she's never going to come back, and the way that Emily talked about Beth felt like she was detached in a way, like saying there wasn't a romance with Daryl. It was probably just me, but as always, I'd love to know your thoughts. So, yeah, by the time that you listen to this and I get around to answering this, I've actually talked about this in a lot of the other Ask videos, so maybe it'll be a little bit redundant, but I have said that before, that they generally don't talk really openly about what will happen. But I don't know, on the one hand, I want to say that my thoughts about that have changed, and on the other hand, they haven't. I think there's just kind of a different thing going on here than is going on when we have Lauren Ridloff, who played Connie, joking about a Connie Daryl bath scene. That's what she was making a joke about, is like them having a shower scene together. Because, well, number one, that's a ship bait thing, right? It's specifically about the romance, and I will say that they have never come out. It's just so nuanced that you could poke holes in anything that I say. So they've never come out and talked really openly about a romance that's going to happen, especially a what do you call it? Like a soulmate romance. Okay, so when Rick and Michonne got together, they did not talk about that beforehand. I believe there were some spoilers that would have come out the week before because the Spoiling Dead Fans, which was the big spoiler site back then, did leak it. But that was only the week before, okay? AMC did not talk about it. They did not do social media posts about it. They did not have the characters talk about it before it happened, okay? So they wanted that to be a surprise as it happened. I will say that sometimes they will hint at things, but it's very indirect. So it's not them talking directly about it. It is hinting at it kind of symbolically. And so what I'm thinking about there is that after season 7, Carol and Ezekiel didn't really go canon in season 7, if I'm thinking about the right thing. Or maybe it was between 7A and 7B. I don't remember the exact time frame, but they, Melissa and Kari did this goofy little social media post. It was like an Instagram reel or an Instagram video. I don't remember if reels were a thing back then, but where they were like pretending to be a married couple and Carol was having a baby, like she was pregnant and he was taking her to the hospital. And it was this goofy thing because obviously that's never actually going to happen in The Walking Dead. Not only because she's not actually going to have another baby, but because there were no there were no hospitals and there were no cars. It seemed like more like a contemporary couple that were actually going to the hospital to have a baby. But that was their way of hinting that Carol and Ezekiel were going to be a thing, and that they were going to raise children together, which they did in Henry. So again, that's not AMC or the actors coming right out and talking about it, but it is them hinting at it symbolically. And I would even say that I don't know that they would normally even do that with Carol and Ezekiel, except that they were trying to prepare the audience because of the carolers, who obviously want her to be with Daryl, and they were like trying to say, guys, this is what's coming. And specifically because of the carolers and that they're so sensitive about it, right? But they haven't done that with any other couple. So what Emily is doing here, first of all, again, you can poke holes in this. I can't say it doesn't have to do with shipping, because she does mention whether or not there was a romance between Daryl and Beth. But at the same time, she's not saying, there's going to be a Beth and Daryl shower scene. You know what I mean? It's just not that exactly. It's her, first of all, because people think she's dead. This is not coming across as something that's actually going to happen. It's something that they're hinting out that really only TD is picking up on. So from the point of view of the audience, if you have the character or the actress Lauren Ridloff that plays Connie, and Connie is alive and well in the show, and we have a Connie and Daryl interaction, then having this shower scene is a real possibility only because they're both alive and on the show, right? Whereas most people are not thinking that anything that Emily is saying about Beth is a possibility, because they don't think she's alive and she's not on the show right now. So it's a nuanced difference, but I do think that there's a difference going on there. Anyway, I guess I couldn't say, where I have said before that they don't talk about things openly. That's obviously not true across the board, but I think it depends on what we're talking about there. When they have one of the actors joke about having a shower scene with Daryl, more than one of them has done that. And that's why I point to it and say, okay, they did this with this character, they did this with this actor, they did this with this person, and it's never happened. And I don't think they're ever going to say that about Beth and Daryl. I mean, I do think that we will get, like I've said before, I think we will get kissing scenes, I think we will get sex scenes, but I don't think they're going to make a joke about it beforehand. When they make a joke about something like that, it's because it's not going to happen with Daryl and that person they're joking about. And that has been the pattern. Now, it's very possible that they will make a joke about that with Beth, and then it will happen, which would just prove me wrong. But this is not an exact science, guys. I'm just pointing out the patterns that I've seen before. And I do think that they're talking about this more openly now because it's about to happen. So while they have always said suspicious things in the past, and we have pointed them out, at the same time, I think that they didn't talk about it this openly before because they didn't want to make people suspicious, and they didn't want people guessing what would happen, and clearly that didn't work with where Team Delusional is concerned, but it did work for most of the rest of the general audience. So they're doing this now in order to prepare us, by us, I mean the general audience, for what is coming, so that people will kind of be open to the idea, and then when it happens, they'll be like, oh, that's why they were saying that at the con, you know what I mean? But we've always known, we've always theorized about this, so it just seems a little bit odd to us that now they're talking about it. So that's all to say, I do think that they're talking about it because it's about to happen. And yes, I've said things before that weren't entirely correct, but again, this is not an exact science, and I do think that their strategy shifts based on where they are in the story and what's coming up. So the fact that they're talking about this now does show, in my mind, that it's very, very close to happening. They did have her go to the con specifically to talk about this and to make sure that, they had to know people would record this, that it would end up on social media, and that it would get circulated around. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I have a lot of hope because of what she said. Now, you talked about, I did want to address, you did talk about her talking about Beth in a detached way. I mean, I think that's by design so that people aren't reading too much into it, because if she really was dead and not coming back, and it's been so many years, then Emily probably would be talking about her in a detached way. So she's just kind of doing what people would expect. The line about her and Daryl just being friends, I talked about this in a previous Ask, but it's something that was regurgitated a lot after Coda. They kept saying that. Oh, well, there wasn't technically a romance. Oh, well, they connected and they became really good friends, and it was a really deep, like almost intimate emotional connection, but that's all. And, of course, Norman kept saying if Daryl did have romantic feelings for Beth, he didn't understand them because he was so inexperienced in the romance department, and so he didn't really know what they were, and he didn't know what to do with them. I mean, these were all things they said a lot right after Coda, so you have to understand that she has said this before, and other people have said this before, and I think it's just a matter of, number one, not wanting to give away the fact that there will be a romance, so they're kind of trying to shut it down so that people will be surprised. But it's also a matter of, they actually did not go canon in the series. They only got to a certain point. They never actually kissed. They never actually, at least in a verbal way, admitted their feelings for each other. We could definitely make arguments about that scene in the funeral home over dinner, but, it's still true that they didn't actually go canon. They didn't actually kiss. They didn't actually do anything like that. So really what she's saying isn't incorrect. She's just pointing out what did and didn't happen in the show. But then she kind of trails off. There's this kind of ... element to it. And she says, although I don't know what the writers intended and they never mentioned to me. And I think that's absolute baloney. I think they've always all known exactly what it would be. We have a lot of evidence that both her and Norman understand that this is going to be a romance eventually. So I think that is pretty much a lie. But again, it's something that we have seen the actors say a lot, not just about Beth and Daryl, but, I've used examples like who Negan's victim was going to be. We know now it was Glenn and Abraham, but so many of the actors went, oh, we don't know. Yeah, we filmed all these different endings and we don't know either. The writers didn't tell us. And then right after that episode on The Talking Dead, they all admitted that they had all known exactly who it would be for a year, and that the actors that played Glenn and Abraham had known for 2 years, even longer than the rest of the cast. So there is just no way that they filmed Still and Alone and Coda and that Emily and Norman didn't know where it was going. I do not believe that in any way, shape, or form. So I think that she is lying about that, and that is her job to do. She's being told what to do. This is very scripted. But as for the rest, it's just something that she's regurgitating that was said a lot back in season 4, season 5, excuse me. And just the fact that she's saying it again is even that, even if it was just that and she hadn't said any of the other suspicious stuff she said, that would still be a really big indication to me that it's about to come back around. Because why are they saying things now that they were saying back after season 5 that they haven't said in the years since? Because they're trying to remind us of what was going on there. They're trying to remind us that Beth and Daryl maybe had some potential of romance, but it never got there because tragically she died. Why are they trying to remind us of that now? What does that have to do with Daryl being in France unless Beth's story is about to come back around, unless he's about to run into her again? That's the only reason to be talking about that now. You see what I mean? So I understand that that's going to throw some people through a loop, that she talks about Beth dying and that there was not a romance there. But just trust me, it's by design and it's leading somewhere. So I actually find a lot of hope in that, and that made me very excited. That's why I called my post Gifts to TD on Easter, even though we did not see her. They're placating us, they're throwing us a bone with this and being like, okay, calm down. It's coming. Don't worry. Here, let's talk about Beth and Daryl in season 4. And of course, we're all going to be falling for that hook, line, and sinker. They got us hooked. So anyway, I hope that makes you feel a little bit better. Thank you for writing in. And yeah, I'm excited to see the sneak peek into Daryl Dixon season 2. I'm not expecting it to be a whole lot of information. I think it's going to be like a teaser trailer where they really don't give us much, but I will take whatever I can get, and I look forward to the summer when that actually airs. So, as I said, I will probably do some posts in the intervening weeks between now and Daryl Dixon season 2. If you guys send in asks, I will answer them, but I will probably only do once a week, because I do have some other work to get done, hopefully before the new season of Daryl Dixon airs. So, but I will be around. Feel free to ask me questions. Feel free to say hi. I'm here. I'm paying attention to my accounts. And yeah, it just, like the other Nani said, the summer cannot come soon enough. So I'll be around and talk to you soon.